Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, like my video, and share all your suggestions with all your friends. Please comment down all of your comments in the section below, and I will try to read all of them and respond to any of the questions any of you may have. And we are almost exactly 1 month from election day. Today is October 4th, 2024. Election day will be the first Tuesday of November, which is going to be November 5th, 2024. So we are around 32 days away. So that's very interesting. And tomorrow will be exactly 1 month from the election. So I will actually make a brand new and updated prediction tomorrow. So please, everybody watching this video, please stay tuned for my prediction tomorrow. That is something you definitely don't want to miss. But in today's video, we're going to be analyzing the polls that have come out and all the metrics and betting odds, because in the past week, a lot of events have been unfolding. We have the hurricane, which has affected a lot of Georgia and North Carolina. We had the VP debates, and we had a lot of interesting new numbers, some early numbers coming in. And so this video is going to be dedicated to those early numbers, all those voting numbers, and as well as poly market, and fill out a very interesting map based on those. And what I can say from the past week is Donald Trump is surging in many of these polls, and Donald Trump has been rising a lot, especially in polls that usually vastly underestimate him. And we're going to definitely check that all out right away. But first, let's look at poly market. I'm going to reload the page right here. And right now, Donald Trump rising right now at the moment. Every single minute he has been rising. As you can see, before I even reloaded the page, he was at 49. But right now he's at 50%, and Harris is at 49. And this has gone back and forth. But in the past week, we can see something like this, where it has been generally in her favor, but for some reason today it has swung severely in Donald Trump's column and is rising a lot. And that's not just the state of as a whole. That's not just the country. It has been every single swing state apart from Nevada that has been trending in Trump's column. If you remember from previous videos, the states of Wisconsin and Michigan and even Pennsylvania were all in Harris's column. Nevada has just a different story. We have Arizona and Georgia being over 60% margins. North Carolina is almost close to 60%. But let's check out each state individually so you can guys really see what I'm talking about. So over here we can see Democrat and Republicans. And we see here that Democrats, specifically Kamala Harris, has held a pretty large lead, up by 20 points at some point. And today, it has drastically dropped, and right now is at 51-49. And this is something I definitely did not expect, and I feel like these polls that are coming out have really hit the public now more than ever. And obviously we have a lot of money going into these on every state, millions of dollars. So this is very interesting. We have a 60 to 40 point lead all the way down to 51-49. Same thing in Michigan. And this is a state that Democrats saw huge polling advantages back then, especially here. Kamala Harris had a 68 to 33 percentage point lead in the betting mods. But look, over the past couple days, especially today, it has collapsed once again to 51.5 to 48.5. And it is still falling as I am making this video. In the state of Pennsylvania, similar thing. Except this time it's flipped. Republicans are blue, Democrats are red. I'm not sure why. It has been back and forth and back and forth. And recently, Republicans have been taking a big lead, 54-47. Very, very interesting. Similar story in the state of North Carolina. It has shrunken because the polls have gotten tighter, but now it is starting to grow again. Georgia, Republicans have always had a huge lead. Now they lead by a large 63-38. Same thing with Arizona. They've consistently been gaining because Arizona is one of the states where we've seen the most favorable polls for the Republicans. And finally, probably the only state that's looking good for Harris, and the only state that has not changed too much in terms of the betting odds, would be the state of Nevada. Republicans had huge leads back in July and around June and May. But after Harris took the torch from Biden, it has changed a lot, and now this is the only state that they really have a growing edge. All the other states, Republicans, do have a growing edge, and it is going up every single minute as we speak. And this is very interesting because it also relates to the polls. As we can see here, the polls over the past couple weeks do have Harris at around 2.2, which is around the same as it used to be. A lot of these polls for Trump that had him up, like Atlas Intel, did drop off, so it does look good for her. But the past three polls, which usually are more accurate, especially Emerson, have Harris +1. We have Maris, which is a vast overestimator of Democrats in many elections and all elections, have Harris up by 2. Rasmussen has Trump up by 2, and then the rest of these have Harris up by a lot larger. And then Quinnipiac and CNN also have a very, very tight race. The reason why this is very significant is because looking back at October of 2020, Biden was up 8.1%. And looking back at 2016, an election year that Trump won, we have Clinton up by 3.8%. So Harris is underperforming Clinton and Biden by a significant amount. And if you want to bring the argument of 2022 being overestimating, we can actually see here the 2022 generic congressional vote. It underestimated Republicans actually, and many people don't even know that, but it did underestimate Republicans by 0.3%. But it was extremely accurate in that sense. So people want to even bring up the 2022 midterms. It would show that no, Republicans were not overestimated in the congressional vote, which is also mostly the same as the national vote in 2024. It's the same kind of vote where they poll the nation as a whole. So it's fairly interesting that even if we apply this margin of error, Donald Trump will be down by 1.9, and a 1.9 margin would be less than Clinton's margin, which would translate into an electoral college vote for Donald Trump. But as I said in many videos, these congressional votes, 2022, 2018, the midterms are not presidential years, and we will most likely see an error, not that bad as 2020, I think. I could be surprised and we could see Trump win the popular vote by as much as what Atlas Intel thinks. I do think the popular vote right now is a pretty 50-50 race, which is why I do give the Electoral College to Trump. But this isn't really about the popular vote. This is mainly also about the states. And in the states, we see Trump doing very well. We have the state of Pennsylvania, originally a state that Kamala Harris had led by around 1 point. Now it is a dead tie. And we have an outlier by Bloomberg here, Harris +5, that really throws the average to a tie. But in reality, it is a lot better than 2020. Biden +6.5. Clinton +5.4 in the 2020 and 2016 elections. We have North Carolina. Donald Trump does lead by a narrow 0.6 percentage point error. And we do see the only two polls being Atlas Intel and Bloomberg for vice president. Both have risen consistently in their margins. Donald Trump has hit 49%, and usually when Trump hits 49% in a state, he usually will not lose the state. He's never lost a state that he had 49% in the polling averages. It looks even better for him in Georgia, where Georgia he has 49.3 to Harris's 47.8. He does lead by 1.5%. And the interesting thing about Georgia, it is a very accurate state in terms of polling. Look at this right here. October 2016, Trump was supposed to win by 4.6. He ended up winning by almost the exact same margin. We see here Biden was supposed to win by 0.3. He ended up winning by almost the exact same margin. Similar thing in Arizona in 2016, where it was very accurate. And then in 2020, it actually favored Democrats by a large amount. Over here, Biden was supposed to win by 3.6. He ended up winning by around 0.3 or 0.2%. Right now, Trump has around 1.4 percentage point lead over Harris, and he has, once again, 49% of the vote. The only polls that do have her up are this one right here, which I've never even heard of. And then once again, we have Bloomberg and the Cook Political Report. In the rest of these states, Kamala Harris does lead, but by much smaller margins than in 2016 and 2020. As you can see right here, this is a very good indicator for how the nation as a whole has shifted in these polls. And in the past 3, Trump has led in 2 of them, including the very accurate Atlas Intel poll and Trafalgar Group. As we can see here, the margin has been tightening a little bit. She was up by around 1 to 2 points, and now it has fallen below that 1 point margin, which is a very, very bad sign for her. And in the most surprising state out of all of them, we have the state of Michigan. And Michigan, for us, the most Democratic state out of all of these. In 2016 and in 2020, both Biden and Clinton were supposed to win by 5.7%. And what has happened now? What has happened now is that Harris is only up by 0.7, but not only that, out of the past 4 polls, 3 of them have Trump up, and these are Atlas Intel. We have Trafalgar Group, and we have MIRS, News Source, which is an internal from the state of Michigan. So this one I would pay a lot of attention to. And once again, these margins for her, she was up by 2 points, and they are currently collapsing for her. And then finally, probably the best state for her probably is the state of Nevada, because Nevada usually does have polls that are accurate. In 2016, they underestimated Clinton, but in 2020, they overestimated Biden. Not as much as those Rust Belt states, but still did. I expect this state to go down to the wire, but this is the only state where she has been gaining in her lead. But I want to see what happens after this Bloomberg poll drops out. This Harris +7 poll definitely throws off the average a lot. So once this drops out, we're going to definitely see how that adjusts the average. But we're on this map now. How does this translate to the Electoral College? With the polls that we do have currently, we're going to be filling out a quick map of the election. Harris, I do still expect to win all these states in the safe column. And in all the polls, she is up in these states in a safe column, which is 12 points or over, or there are not enough polls to really indicate who is the leader. New Jersey will not be included in that likely column, as my prediction says, because there are not enough polls to do that. And this video is only based around polls. As I discussed before, my prediction will be coming tomorrow. Please, everyone, do check that out. That is going to be a very, very important video on this channel. And right now for Trump, he obviously leads in all these states by a safe margin. The states of Iowa and Ohio are looking very strong for him. If we go on the election map that I can pull up for you guys, and we can check polls of these states that are going to be not as close. We can check here the no toss-up map. We do have Trump. They do have Trump winning 281 to 257. But if we check the election map with the battlegrounds, this is how they characterize all their. Obviously, they have the state of Iowa as likely for Trump, so it will be going likely. And then we do have a lot of polls out of Ohio, so I will be checking that out. Trump is up by 8, which is a lot different from back then. It even was so bad in 2020 that even though Trump won by 8.1%, Biden was actually supposed to win the state by 2.5. So that really tells us, did they really fix the polling averages extremely well to where it is accurate, or are we going to see a polling average where Trump ends up winning the state by over a safe margin? I do think it's somewhere in the middle, and my prediction puts Ohio in that safe column, but this right here will keep it in the likely column. The states of Texas and Florida are represented being a little bit closer. The polls do have Trump at 5.2 in the state of Texas and 6 points in the state of Florida. Florida will be going in that likely column, and Texas will be going barely in that lean column. Going to some of the Harris states now, we do still have some favorable states for her, such as Colorado. There is only one poll. She is looking good in the poll. It is a Dem internal, however. And we do have New Mexico also looking good for her. Both these states, according to polls, will be in that likely column. We have the state of Minnesota also that I'm going to fill out for Kamala Harris. And in the polls right now, it does show her at a 4.7 lead, which is a lot less than Biden's lead back in the day. So it is going to be falling in that lean column for the vice president. Same thing with Virginia, where she leads by only 4.8%, which is half of Biden's 9.4 win in 2020. So that will be going in that lean column for her. Nebraska second will be going in the lean column for her as well, since there is polls that are looking very good for her. Trump will win Maine second by a likely margin. And then if we check here in new state of New Hampshire, we do see this is one of the states that it is looking fairly good for her. She leads by 7.4%, which is almost the exact margin as what Biden led by. But obviously, we have an outlier where she leads by 11. She will not win the state by 11 points. It's very similar in the state of Maine, where there are many outliers, but still, we do have to put both of these states in the likely margin due to these very, very good polls for her, where we do see her leading by 7 points or more. And also on the betting odds, she does have a very good chance of winning these states, as well as Virginia and Minnesota. And now we're back to the original 7 main toss-up states. And going to these polls, first, as we get to discussed in the state of Nevada, she is favored to win by a tilt margin, so that will be going on this map. Vice versa, in the state of Arizona, Trump is supposed to win by a larger margin, but still in that tilt margin for the former president. And this does translate a lot in these betting odds. We do have Nevada being very close, but Arizona has 64% chance for him to win. Same thing with Georgia, 63%, and North Carolina. Both these states will be going into that tilt column for Donald Trump, since we do see polls for him that do have him up narrowly, but they still are a very good lead, especially in states that are a lot more accurate than the 3 that we're going to now, which are going to be the final Rust Belt states. They do have right now Harris leading in Wisconsin and Michigan, less than a point, but they are narrowly going to be going into her column. The betting odds do show a similar thing where there are basically 50-50 margins at this point. So we're definitely going to have to see what these states end up voting for. And then finally, the state of Pennsylvania, which is going to be the deciding state in this election. And since it is a tie, we're going to go here on Polymarket, and we're going to see Trump having a 54% chance of winning the state. And this will be going in that tilt column for him. And this is the final map based on most of the polls that we do have currently and most of the betting odds. And a lot of people are really coming down to this map right now. And this is going to be a very contested map. But once again, we have all these states being so close that we really don't know how they're going to go. This is just who is leading barely in those states. All these states right now, I would put in toss-ups in the Rust Belt as well as Nevada. I do give Trump the edge in Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. But that is going to do it for this video. I appreciate all you guys watching. Please subscribe, like the video, put all your suggestions in the section below, and I will check you guys out in the next one.